quite frankly, how easy it is to learn, right? So, and I'm not saying this to blow your head up or anything else, because that's not what it is. I'm a coach, right? That's what I've been doing forever. And I know people learn differently, and some people are really great movers, and you can ask them to do a squat and that looks great. And you're like, great, we'll just set you on your way, right? But then there's deadlifts. A good example is like a Romania deadlift or a hinge or a deadlift type position. To me, that's really easy to do. I don't think I ever struggled with it. It's one of the toughest things to coach somebody to do when they've never done one before and they have no idea how to move their body, right? And you could spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours trying to get somebody to hinge properly to be able to do this thing. And what did we get accomplished in that amount of time? Time and money are very, very hot commodities in law enforcement training. And when we break it out into combatives or firearms training or anything training, they don't get very much. You already highlighted that. And so what's really important is that you can give somebody something in a short amount of time to where they can be good at doing something and feel comfortable doing it. And part of that is giving them plenty of reps to do it. It doesn't take long to teach this thing, and you can give them plenty of reps in doing that with lots of different people, which to me, with very low level of skill and fitness, which to me, again, is a thing because of again, those were deficiencies I was seeing. I was like, well, you're expecting this person to control this person. They don't even go to the gym. They've never been to the gym. The best shape they've ever been in was in the academy, right? And how do they get there? They were doing a bunch of calisthenics and whatever else. Now they're going to go out on the street and they're going to face some reality. And then we don't have to get into what defensive tactics training looks like in a lot of places and what they're being told will work. And then they only realize it doesn't work when they have to apply it. So I want to go back to the teaching, right? And how you're delivering it to the end user. How does that look? How does that work? You talked about there being a 2-day class and whatever, and how does it tie in with GST? Because this is the answer for a 2-person method, right? But what about the one-on-one situation? How do we play into this?
Great question. So Gracie Survival Tactics includes Safe Wrap.
Gotcha.
It is, out of 40 lessons, Safe Wrap is 2 of those lessons. Safe down and Safe Wrap, how to get the person to the ground and how to Safe Wrap them on the ground, and a variety of different entries and methods and slices and variations. So GST has 38 lessons attributed to one-on-one encounters, surviving the fight of your life and overcoming and arresting and retaining control of your weapon during a use of force encounter. And then for the instances, which are the majority, where it's 2 officers addressing one aggressive subject in a physical encounter, most agencies default to wait for backup. Don't go hands-on by yourself, right? We don't pay you enough for that. Do it unless it's an emergency, exigent circumstances, you have to save someone's life right now, or they physically attack you and ambush you. Besides that, there should be no reason to go hands-on, right? Other than in exigent circumstances. So GST is a one-on-one course, but it includes all of Safe Wrap.
Okay.
Safe Wrap is also a standalone 2-day instructor certification course where you may not even be a cop. You might be a school teacher, a church security guard, a flight attendant. You might be a healthcare security officer where you don't need all of GST and weapon retention and all that, but you want to learn this method to restrain. You might be a parent of a neurodivergent child who needs to restrain your own 17-year-old child from time to time. And it's never pleasant, but at least if we're going to have to restrain our child, let's do it in a way that protects them and protects us. So we're getting the full gambit of participants in Safe Wrap as a standalone 2-day instructor certification. The next one being October 1 and 2 in Torrance, California at our headquarters. So that's the program, that's the course. And what we have found is that Safe Wrap is being, we train trainers and then they go back and they train their organizations under license where they're authorized to do it and teach it to all of their staff as long as they adhere to certain training protocols, minimum training standards, which the license requires. They go and they train. And to see the success that agencies who've adopted this are currently having is all the confidence that I need to know that, number one, it's easier to learn, easier to retain, easier to apply than all of the legacy methods of restraint. We're talking for 2-on-1. And officers who are learning it, who have no previous martial arts experience, who have never been in a fight before, who are of all shapes and sizes, we're getting the data now.
It's being validated.
It's being validated. In the beginning, people would speculate. They saw our Santa Monica video. Oh, big deal. 2 Gracies, black belts, arresting some, 250-pound kid at the side of Santa Monica Beach on the Strand right there. Whoopee, what a big deal. No, that was the criticism for the first 3 weeks. 4 weeks, 3 months. And now we've certified enough, hundreds of agencies are licensed, are now using it, and the body camera footage is coming back. Mm-hmm. And not the least of which is one of our earliest adopters, Bellevue, Washington Police Department.
Right, we got Craig here in the back.
Craig is here in the back, and Craig is doing great work with Rolf and Larry and the rest of the instructor cadre there, teaching SafeWrap. They adopted it March 1, 2025. That's this year. Mm-hmm. It's been about 5 months since its adoption, and they've sprinkled it into training for their officers, and they've had 9 SafeWrap applications in the field. All of 9 were successful. None of the 9 resulted in serious injuries to the subject or to the officers involved. And the officers involved, the pair of officers in every one of these instances, were comprised of officers ranging from less than a year of experience, less than 5 years of experience, over 5, over 20 years of experience, and all kinds of mixed matches. Some of those officers involved in more than one SafeWrap application in only 5 months. And this is not a tiny agency. It's about 150 sworn, give or take, but not a massive metropolitan agency. So to have 9 applications in a matter of months since its adoption tells us several things. And one in particular, the very first one, Officers Silva and Officer Kwan, they went in there, and Officer Silva had never, we interviewed him so we know after the fact, he had never previously had a use of force in his whole career. He was a rookie. Okay. He had never been in a fight as a human on the earth. He had never done a martial art.
Not been punched in the mouth.
No, right? No, just someone who grew up, had probably had a good life growing up, and then decided to become a cop, became a cop, went through their training, learned SafeWrap, had a very minimal exposure, and a week after his exposure to SafeWrap, he's SafeWrap, they're in there using it in tandem with Officer Kwan, who was a bit more experienced, maybe 3 years on the force, and together they apply SafeWrap. They lock this DUI suspect, the video's on the internet, they lock him up laterally, and they're holding him. Backup comes charging out of the car because they heard whatever the call was for, hey, fight in progress, get us help as quickly as possible. They heard the call, they come running. When they show up, the officers have him in SafeWrap on his side, crossover leg control, crossover arm, and they say, it's okay, it's okay. We got him in the SafeWrap. In other words, don't panic, everything is cool here. Let's just go ahead, help us apply these cuffs. Now that you have Officer 3 and 4 and 5 show up, you can assist us, even though we only need 2. 3 and 4 can come in and help place one cuff, hand behind the back, other hand behind the back without the dog pile, which is normally when people are running into a fight, it's a dog pile, which we avoid altogether. And then we saw another one, Officer Pereira, Officer Barnett. I just got that body-worn camera footage last week, and I just released that one 2 days ago. Another one, officer with 20 plus years, officer, a female officer with less than 3 years, and she's out there, one high, one low. They're talking the whole time. There's a dog trying to bark at them or kind of lick them in the face because the woman, the suspect, had a dog on her. But they're calmly talking. A third person comes in. They assist with the legs. Lateral handcuffing in plain view. She never got put on her stomach. And this is an assault investigation. They took care of it. It was as humane and compassionate as an arrest could have possibly been against
the public wants to see.
Which is what we all want, because that could have been my sister on her worst day.
Right.
Do you understand? Like, this is the whole point. All of us want what is reasonable and necessary to take care of business. And now what is reasonable and necessary is changing with SafeWrap's arrival, because it is giving an alternative for equations where prone restraint with a 2-on-1, again, there are many situations where prone restraint is necessary and valid, and we still teach it. But what I'm saying is there are many where it's not ideal, right? So you talk about a mental health patient, putting them on their face down, and that claustrophobic feeling often doesn't land well with them when you start piling on their back. Talk about a pregnant woman who, if you put her on her stomach, could have catastrophic consequences for the baby and the mother. And with SafeWrap, she could be on her side, potentially restrained, belly intact, talking to her, monitoring her, even though she might be trying to hurt herself or someone else. So with the mental health crises, with the children, right? Try dogpiling a child. I've seen videos of teenagers, small teenagers who are theft suspect at the mall, and a 250-pound officer on her back with full pressure, punching because her hands are under her body. And this is a child.
Yeah, nobody wants to, nobody needs
This is my point. So the question is, if prone restraint is, if all you have is a hammer, everyone's a nail.